Get into my Habs. That's what you got to do. You got to get into my Habs. My name is Paul K. Lemire. I'm sitting here with my co-host, John Fillion.
Bonjour, mes amis.
And our guest superstar, YouTube superstar, Drew Deeks.
That's me.
That's him. And I'm Paul K. Lemire over here.
I mean, superstar term used a little loosely.
Dua Lipa.
No, well, see if I called you.
You, Dua Lipa, remember?
Dua Lipa.
You guys
That's
always
right.
say stuff that I have
Dua
no idea
Lipa.
what you're talking about, and I love you for it. But what?
Dua Lipa, that's affectionately how we... one of the terms that we use to acknowledge you.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll take it. I still don't know what it means, but I love you both anyway.
Well, listen,
How are you guys, man?
we can say you're a superstar. Now, if we call you a rock star, then Billy Idol will come jumping through the window and undo his zipper.
Maybe Gwen Stefani will
This
come.
is getting real weird.
It's getting weird.
I like it.
And it's going to get weirder because we're talking about the Habs.
Woo!
And we're live on 4680Q Radio in beautiful downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada, for anybody who wonders where the heck we're doing this show from. And we're all from Niagara Falls, all three of us.
Yes, we are.
And John,
Born in Quebec, though.
Born in Quebec.
Don't forget it.
John and I were
Nice.
born right in Niagara Falls. We're local boys.
Did you guys already say hi to the Drew Deeks squad over there?
Yes, we did. Hello, Drew Deek Squad.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to this great show.
Absolutely podcast.
Absolutely.
So I wanna-
Absolutely podcast.
So what a great week it's been so far.
Oh, it's been a great week. But before that, I want to start off with a little Habs trivia.
Ooh.
And I like to do this when Drew Deeks is in here because he has no clue about hockey. and the Canadians pre-19, what? 19, when are you born?
That's none of your darn business, and I'd appreciate if you stayed on my personal affairs.
I think it's 1990 or something like that.
Now, I'm an 87, baby,
There you
okay?
go, 87.
So before 1992,
So he don't know what
So
that
you've
is.
seen a cup.
I've seen a cup.
Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
In color.
Good for
Yeah.
you.
In color. That's right.
Okay, so
A Stanley Cup in color. Sorry,
let's start off with this. Who was the first player ever selected by the Habs
Desjardins.
in the NHL Entry Draft? Clue. The first entry draft was in. Tell me when the first entry draft was in.
Montreal.
No, where? Not where. When? Good try, though.
It was 60s or 70s.
Okay.
Wait, no, but which
Or 80s or
one is
90s?
it? Is it 60s or 70s?
It's in the 60s. I'll give you a hint.
Okay. 1968?
No. John?
Well, it's 1963, correct?
That's correct. John.
Well,
John
of course.
is-
He knows that he was there.
Yeah, we were. You're right about that. We both were. So.
Right?
Yes, John's a whiz at dates. So anyway, who was the first player ever selected by the Habs in the NHL Entry Draft? In
John?
1963. Hold it, I'm going to give you the names so you have a
Oh,
chance.
Multiple choice.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
We like that.
I appreciate that.
Defenseman Rodney Presswood. Defenseman Jean-Guy Talbot. Goalie Phil Muir.
Niagara
And
Falls.
left winger Gary Morandin.
So Phil Muir's a
sorry, Gary Monahan.
Niagara Falls Flyer.
Ooh, that's
Phil
fun
Muir,
fact.
we went to high school with him, Phil Muir, believe it or not.
Niagara Falls Flyer.
He played goalie for the Cabs. We went to high school
And-
with
For
him.
the Cabs?
I will
For
choose.
the Habs.
I will choose. I will choose
He
Phil.
took a cab to play for the Habs.
I will choose Phil Muir.
I'll choose number 4, the fourth guy, because I already forget all the
Gary
names.
Monahan?
Monahan?
Yeah, Gary Monahan.
Sounds like a Bruin.
Oh, no, it's not. I don't think it's Monahan.
Phil Muir, Jean-Guy Talbot, and Rodney Presswood.
So it's definitely a French guy, because back then you had to draft French first. No?
Well, I don't
Talbot? I'm going to go Talbot.
know. Okay, and that's what I would have chosen because I never. I knew Phil Muir, and I knew he was.
I'm going
He
Talbot.
was after 1963, so he couldn't have been the first. We know that, right? Because we went to high school with him.
Right.
But it was Gary Monahan.
Darn it! See, I was right the
No.
first time.
You were right.
I was right the first time.
Yeah, you're right.
Never ignore your instincts.
Jean-Guy Talbot.
Jean-Guy
I
Talbot.
believe he was a forward.
Hang on. Can I see your hat, by the way?
They says he was a defenseman. Isn't that a nice hat?
That's the All-Star game in Montreal from 1993 at the Forum.
Oui.
That is a beautiful hat right there.
C'est très bien.
I know you guys. I know I can't zoom in right now, but that is a beautiful hat
Hold it
from
up
John.
to the camera. Hold it up to the camera.
Can I do that? I'm going to do that.
Absolutely.
It's one of a kind. I mean, there's not a lot of
That's
those hats
gorgeous.
around.
This thing's gorgeous. From the Montreal Forum, 44th All-Star game. 44, is that how you say 44 in French?
Yeah,
match.
44.
44 match d'étoiles in 1993. The year that we what?
Won our last Stanley Cup.
And
In
it's-
color.
And it's a starter hat.
That
Which
is a beautiful piece of memorabilia right there. I'm glad you brought that
C'est si bon?
C'est magnifique. That's beautiful.
That is
Le
fantastic.
Gloria.
And it's
bleu,
got,
blanc, rouge.
And it's got that starter thing on it, which you
Like
don't
your jacket.
see around anymore.
Like your jacket with the stars you can peel out of your neck collar there.
Yeah.
To get a free jacket.
Because back in the day, starter was the deal.
Yeah. We've gone through a lot. I was
starter
around
was
for
it.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so at the day. So there you go. There's a little Hab trivia for you.
That was a fun way to start. I like that.
And the entry draft was known as the NHL Amateur Draft until 1979.
Correct.
And has only been a public event since 1980 and televised event since 1984.
Yeah, because who would watch it, really?
Yeah, really, it was boring. And
Now we're watching a friggin' bunch of bingo balls drop like it's Christmas, right?
yeah, so back to
Well, and not only that, I mean, guys are like getting signed, and they, immediately they're getting $1 million contracts on their way to like getting multi-million-dollar contracts.
Yeah.
That's why we're watching.
Yeah. That's true too. But I mean, this is the beginning of that. Is like the first. Well, this is before players get selected.
And remember, even when this draft was going on in 1963, Montreal was still controlling the province of Quebec as their pool of players.
And that's a great point because back in the day, it wasn't like it is today with these teams. The Montreal Canadiens owned the Montreal Junior Canadiens, and anything that came through the Montreal Junior Canadiens came up to Montreal.
The Kingston Canadiens as
and
well.
And Peterborough Petes. They had a piece of Peterborough. Now, Boston had the Niagara Falls Flyers.
Oshawa Generals.
Oshawa Generals. That's where
Bobby
Bobby Orr
Orr
came from. And then you had... Well, that guy who
Number
played for
4.
Boston.
Oh, the guy Lane Hudson's going to be better then. Okay.
He thought he was Superman when he scored a goal.
The guy Don
goofiest
Cherry
thing I
thinks
ever
is
saw.
the best hockey player ever, who's not.
Yeah.
And just remember Sanderson. Just remember Derek Sanderson from Niagara Falls set him up for that goal. Okay,
Yeah, that's right.
He's the one who dug the puck out from behind the
That
net.
is a fun fact. I did not know that because that goal is like arguably the most famous goal in the NHL.
Yes.
Sanderson set that goal up.
That's
Yes,
pretty
he did.
cool. My dad still thinks Bobby Orr was the greatest of all time, and he's a Habs fan, so that says a lot.
Well,
too.
we got to talk to him.
Okay, we
Yeah.
do have to bring Brian Thompson in for this. Hi, Dad.
I asked Derek Sanderson, "How'd you set up that goal? Like, how did play?"
Did you ask him?
He goes, "Nah, I was just in the corner. I got the puck and threw it up front, or was there. That was it."
You know what?
Simple hockey,
eh?
You know
I
what?
interviewed him
It's
one
simple
time.
hockey.
Oh,
It's
that's
simple
fun,
hockey,
man.
and
That's
that's
awesome.
real hockey. And that's exactly what you saw a guy named John Tavares do the other night, was grab the puck from behind the net and throw it out front.
Yep.
Very
There you
simple,
go.
just like Derek.
Oh, you mean like how on the Matthew Nyes goal?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, he just drove to the net and threw it. He didn't even like. He was just. He was a smart play. It was a
And
smart
you
play.
you talk about the draft, right? Well, the draft lottery last night, I should say, and Celebrini was on there, and they asked him about a goal, and he said, "I don't know, I just passed it across. I got a little bit lucky, and it went through everybody to the guy." And the guy's looking at him, going, "I don't think there was any luck involved with that one."
There's a lot of
he's
luck
a pretty
involved.
humble guy, really. When I
Yeah.
saw from him last night on the draft lottery show,
Yeah.
yeah, he's a pretty humble guy.
He was kind of nervous. Like you could tell this is like his first time on national TV, like just talking, right? Like
Well,
the guy's used to just playing.
I felt sorry for the kid, to be honest with you, because that's a lot of pressure on him.
How old is he? 18?
17. Yeah, he's
gonna be
He's
18,
just
I
going to be
think.
18. Yeah.
So, 17 years old.
Yeah, and he's on national TV, and
Yeah.
everybody's telling him he's number one pick. Didn't they tell Shane Wright the same thing?
Yeah, not the
And,
same. Not
you
the
know,
same.
Not the same, but
Nobody learned that more than me, Paul K. Lemire.
but still, to be on in front of millions of people watching this
Yeah.
thing and being told like you're the bona fide number one and nobody else is getting picked number one in that. If anything, it were not to get him number one, what a bummer that would be, and he's standing up there and he don't want to hear this stuff as, he wants to be humble, but, I don't know. I'd be feel uncomfortable there. I just,
Under pressure.
It's
yeah, I would,
always
John. You're right. Under pressure.
Grace under pressure. Shout out to Rush. But hey, you know what though?
Geddy
Like,
Lee.
good for San Jose, I guess. Like, and the thing is too is it was their first ever draft lottery win,
Yes.
so good for them. But
First time they had the number one pick.
yeah, so this is the first time ever for them. So in that sense, it's good. And they got Will Smith last year, so celebrating Will Smith, not bad two pieces to build around
Right.
for the San Jose Sharks. So that's really exciting for them. And saw some people in their market. Tara Sloan, who used to host hometown hockey with Ron McLean.
Yep.
had the
Tara
chan-
Sloan, she used to have a rock band as well.
Yes, she did. Joy Drop.
And she used to work at a store called Sam the Record Man in
Yes, she did.
Halifax.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did. And she was ecstatic last night because she works for the Sharks now. She moved to California from Toronto after.
Smart move.
Yeah, she knew. She had a sense for it, but had the chance to talk with her and Ron, and she is. I think she's ringside host, or she's doing a lot of media for the Sharks. But
Good
the main
for
thing
her.
is, they're happy. Sharks fans are happy. Their franchise still has hope.
I'm happy.
And Chicago didn't get
You're happy.
first, so
I'm
we're happy with
I'm happy.
that.
I'm
So-
happy.
But there wasn't much movement. Did you guys notice
Did
that?
you-
There was no movement at all, basically, last night.
Did you sit there and watch when they flipped that card for number 1 and 2? Just going, man, if Chicago gets this, Bedard and Celebrini, and then they flipped the Sharks, and I'm going, yeah, I did not want.
I fist pumped.
Yeah, I was with you.
Yeah, I was.
Did not want Chicago to get 2 in a row like that.
Nobody in their mostly right mind, except for Chicago fans, wanted that to
Well,
happen.
Chicago
Yeah.
got the second round pick.
Second overall.
Yeah,
Not-
that's
not so-
They're going to get
Not too shabby.
Ivan
having,
Demidov or-
having a first,
one
and then
year.
the next year the second.
Yeah, so
I-
Demidov.
like to me, that's kind of fair.
I could live with that.
And Demidov is supposed to be the European Celebrini anyway. They're saying he's that
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, they say
know.
he's that good. You're right.
So I mean, it's not a bad way to go, really.
Yeah.
But I'm happy. The Habs ended up 5th, and
Yep.
I don't know about you guys. I think that gives the Habs a lot of flexibility. There's still a lot of good people that are going to be left by then, and if other teams begin to take defensemen rather than forwards, then we may get one of these top guys. Leshuvnev or whatever the hell it's Levshulov or
he's a name that escaped me too. So yeah,
yeah, or is he a defenseman? No, I don't think he is. Is he?
Shuliev is.
Levshulev.
Let me clarify because I know that this is very early for us.
And
He is a defenseman.
yeah,
Thank you.
Okay, so we know Lindstrom isn't 6'4", 216-pound center. Now, if
I
we
got him at 6'3", 210.
okay, well,
Yeah, maybe
he
he's
lost
grown.
an inch and lost
Last
a
night he
couple pounds. It's funny, because they say like Suzuki's like 6'5", and we
Right.
know he's only like 5'9". And
Exactly,
most, right? So-
and that
they
was
always
and
do
that
that.
was always the deal with the home team's profiles of their players in any sport.
exactly.
Inflate the numbers.
either,
but,
either way, he's.
But I'm happy with the 5th, and we might well end up getting Lindstrom if one of these other teams that are in the top 5, Sharks, Hawks, Ducks, Jackets, and Habs, if one of those other teams decide they need a good defenseman rather than a forward, then we may well end up with Lindstrom.
If the top 2D go in the first four picks, then we have Lindstrom is there for us to take if we so choose.
And I think that would be the good chase. So number 5 doesn't bother you guys, right? You think that's a great place?
I love
to
number
be?
5. Boom Boom Jeffrion.
Number 5.
One of my favorite
Mumbo.
Montreal-
Number
Number.
6.
Number 6 was another center.
Ralph
Yeah.
Backstrom. Ralph
This is why I bring
Backstrom.
these guys in because
Yeah.
I don't know enough about that.
And of course,
Yeah.
number 5 was Guy Lapointe.
Here, our mail guy Ryan. Come on over here, buddy. That's our mail guy Ryan. I work
he?
with this guy. Come on, come around here.
Look at him. Hey, there's Big Ryan.
recording a podcast. You're on. I hope you don't mind.
Who's your favorite hockey team?
The Leafs.
Oh, so sorry
about
for
your
you.
Condolences, man.
Yeah, that's so sad. I feel bad for you.
I do live in.
Yeah, I had mail. I was like, oh, okay.
You got mail.
buddy. I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's probably not even our mail.
It's for 4609.
That's us. All
Okay,
right.
we're good.
We got the mail. But there you go. This is live.
We've got mail.
This is live radio. You can't do this anywhere else. This is live. We're doing it live.
I'm not even going to edit this on my channel.
No, this is awesome.
Why
man.
would you?
I don't know. Ryan popped in. You get to give his
Yeah,
condolences.
we gave him, exactly. We
for his
told you
Leafs?
we were sorry for him.
Firstly, we had a good laugh.
We were pretty nice.
Oh yeah, we had a good laugh.
That was fun.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yes,
Absolutely.
I'm happy with number 5. I think we got a lot of options, and the one guy that really stands out, if we're going to talk about the people that we have to pick from, is Iginla. I've heard that Montreal's had 4 interviews with the kid already. He comes from a good hockey father. I mean, Jerome Iginla, who set records for Calgary,
He was okay.
and yeah, he was all right. I wouldn't mind having him.
Decent.
Decent, and this kid's 6 feet tall.
Iggy!
And what did this guy
The
do?
Crosby goal. Come on.
what did he do this Iginla? Well, I think he got something like 84
Mid-80s,
points in 64 games, including 47 goals 47 goals and 84 points. So,
Well,
I mean, that's not too bad.
it's not too bad. I don't know. It's interesting because we're talking about the 2D going in the top 5. So I think that's where the biggest question mark becomes. Well, and the thing is that these guys are centers too. Iginla's a center. Lindstrom's a center. Berkeley Catton is a center. You want to talk about Catton and his
I think
production?
he's a left,
Yes.
but he shoots left.
He shoots left, yes. Demidov is a center. like there's a lot of centers available. So, I mean, we don't expect Demidov to be available at number 5.
No.
But there's a decent possibility that Lindstrom will be. And Craig Button even said last night, I do like to listen to the main guys out there in the sports world still, and Craig is somebody I enjoy hearing his side of things, even if he's wrong about the Canadiens from time to time, hence the 2021 Stanley Cup series with the Leafs. But regardless, I digress. Lindstrom, he believes, is who the Canadiens should take. Will he be available at 5? Well, it depends on Columbus and Anaheim. So in the top 5, Celebrini, Demidov, we assume they're we know Celebrini's
They're
going
gone.
number 1.
Those two are gone.
Let's assume they're gone. And then Anton Sileyev, who's 6'7", the next Zdeno Chara, this guy's a monster, so we expect him to go.
And that's a franchise player.
He's a franchise player. And then Levshinov. So if Sileyev and Levshinov go in the top 5 before Montreal picks, we're going to get Lindstrom. Now,
Well, we're going to get the choice
the choice.
to pick Lindstrom.
The choice. Because it's not, you can't, the interviews with Iginla's a very attractive piece still for the Montreal Canadiens.
He
the
really
motor,
is.
Absolutely.
the motor and the blood that is already built into that kid with Jerome Iginla's blood inside of him. I know it sounds kind of strange.
And, with Jerome Iginla, helping the kid, coaching the kid, too. I mean, you can't get a better guy than that mentoring you. I mean, your father's
It's not going to hurt. And then you got Marty St. Louis.
As long as at one point he walks away from it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
He will, but he will.
He knows.
He knows. He knows.
He's
If
been-
anybody knows, it's him.
We think he does.
We think he
We
does.
believe he might.
Right? So then you've got, where was I going with that?
I don't know.
Lindstrom, Iginla,
Yeah, so
Yzerman.
Catan.
and then there's Cole Yzerman too. So that's the other thing. But Yzerman's current. So if we're going to talk about Bob McKenzie's rankings, that's what I was kind of going by here, is the top 15 projected by Bob McKenzie's rankings, who are, to me, is one of the most reliable sources historically.
He's been
without
doing
question.
it. He's been doing it maybe longer than anyone
35
else.
years. 35 years Bob McKenzie's been doing this. So you've got,
35 years. That's amazing.
it's pretty amazing.
He looks like it.
He looks good for his age, though, Bobby Mack.
How old is he?
He doesn't look
He's in
any
his early
different than he
60s.
did 35 years ago.
He
To
doesn't.
me, he looks the same.
If you meet my dad, you'll see the lookalike for Bob McKenzie.
Oh,
I
yeah?
kid you. Yeah, he looks.
Well, you got to
You
respect
just,
Bob
you
McKenzie.
just sit him in that chair and he's.
It's because he's
good
the
to go.
most.
You're around
He's the
that
most
long.
unbiased, and the most. He has the most information from the most people.
Too, he's never had really like a network affiliation. Like a CBC more He's never been a homer in that sense.
Never been a homer. No, he is a Mississauga guy from works at TSN still, but he's like more than half retired at this point. But Lindstrom, if he's available, there is, however, injury concern with him right now.
Upper body.
Upper body. I don't know the details of the injury. I explained that on my last video, but if he's available, the Canadiens will do their medical research and history on him, which is available to them.
Absolutely.
But they're also going to meet these guys, some of them for the first time at the draft combine. The combine is the most revealing in terms of getting to know
Is that
the
in
player.
Buffalo?
I don't know if it's going to be in Buffalo this year, but it's going to be on June the 2nd to the 8th, I
Okay,
believe.
okay.
So it's
Beautiful.
coming up in just a few weeks. And the Canadiens have already met with Tage Iginla, and that's not a bad thing at all if that's true, because the sources we've heard, it's actually happened. They also just went to watch Tage Iginla and the Great World Championship he just had with Team Canada. So there's a lot to be liked from him. He's ranked a lot. Here's the thing. If it's between Lindstrom and Iginla and there's injury concern with Lindstrom, I don't think they're going to be that disappointed if we end up with Iginla. It seems like you're getting the feeling amongst fans. I don't know for sure about the Canadiens that Iginla could be their guy.
They're probably within the range of 3 in rankings.
Yeah, I mean, if they're getting 5th, and if Lindstrom is available, that's a good problem to have, but it also might be harder if he is able to overcome those injuries.
It might be a tougher decision to make.
Yeah. But
Well,
I mean,
let me put this to you guys.
yeah.
Okay, we get fifth, we get a Ginla or whatever. What if Hughes went to Chicago and said, listen, because Demidov has also been talking to Montreal already. He loves
right?
the Habs. He'd love to play there. So what if he went to the Sharks or the Hawks and said, listen, you got a what's his name last year? What's his name? Connor Lindstrom or no?
Connor Bedard.
Right? You got Connor Bedard last year. So, the top 3 or 4 picks are pretty good. And, we'd like to get Demidov, and we're going to give you our pick number 5, along with maybe Wawa or one of these guys, just anybody that you can think of that they'd be interested in for that pick and move up in the draft. Do you think that would be a possibility, John?
No.
What about you, Drew?
I think it's a lot less likely. They're going to end up with a very good player at 5. So what they'd have to give up to get a guy like Demidov, I think they'll acquire in free agency in a couple years, maybe.
Okay,
I think
that's fair.
I think they'll acquire their next scoring forward through trade. So I'm sorry, I say that besides this draft, like they're going to acquire or they're going to draft a scorer, whether it's Lindstrom or Ginla or Yzerman or. I don't think it's going to be Demidov or Catton, as an example. But I think that they're going to like if he's available at free agency in 2026, I would absolutely make a play from the Minnesota Wild. Why can't I think of his name right now? I'm drawing a blank. He's a free agent in 2026 if he's not re-signed.
Oh.
Why am I drawing a complete blank while we're recording?
It's okay.
Clayton Keller?
No, not Clayton Keller. From the Minnesota Wild.
Okay.
Russian from the Minnesota Wild. Why am I...
I got so many names down here. I'm just trying to figure out which one you're talking about.
There's too many.
Okay, sorry. Let me look this up and all.
But I think
But
going
I know
back...
the guy you mean, though. I've heard his name before. I just can't think of what it is.
Going back to your point, Paul, I think...
Kaprizov. Sorry.
Kaprizov.
Okay, sorry.
I
I was gonna say
can't
cuts
see
nuts off,
Chicago ever giving up that second-round pick. Period. Like, for anybody.
The second overall pick? No, they're going to need it.
They're going to take it.
And they probably, who knows if they're going to take a defenseman. They could probably use it. They have Seth Jones back there, though, but they need someone to play with Connor Bedard. I don't see how they don't take Demidov. I don't know what their needs are fully, but...
What about number 5 in Gooley?
No.
Habs are not going to give up Gooley.
No, Chicago won't
He's part of the
give
core.
up number 2.
Okay, well, there you go.
That's how I see that.
What I was trying to say with that before my brain took a dive to Nowheresville.
So how old are you anyway?
37 as of this last month.
So dementia does strike
19
early. Dementia does strike
Sometime
early.
No,
1987.
I received none of that. But
1987.
87 was a good year. 87 is a good number for some people. Anyway,
86 was better, but I mean,
Yes.
yeah, for the Stanley Cup for the Canadiens.
yeah.
That's right. I know that one. Chris Knuckles, Nyland talks about it. Rick Green.
You got to
I
have a
watched that
talk with
show.
your parents about that one.
I will. The year before I was born. That's probably why I was born. They celebrated. Anyways, so
Do the math.
John, you're welcome. Thank you.
Do the math.
You're welcome. So 9 months later, baby Deeksy, here he comes. So I would say if Kaprizov, if we could focus for a minute, folks, is available as a free agent, which I'll be shocked if Bill Guerin, general manager of the Wild, does not sign him on July 1st of 2025, because that's usually when they're eligible for their extension, is a year before their UFA. If somehow he decides he doesn't want to sign and stay in Minnesota, that's the one player I actually got excited about looking at all the UFAs available for the next 3-4 years while the Canadiens are trying to solidify the rebuild and finish the rebuild and start becoming a cup contender. So I don't know what the chances are. It could be slim to none. But I just looked at all the players that were available in the next coming years. And in 2026... next year, in 2025, we expect the Canadiens to be closer to the playoffs. We still don't expect them to make the playoffs.
No, I think we expect the Montreal
do.
Canadiens to make the playoffs next year.
If they do, it's a bonus, but I don't think it's
no,
cut and dry.
No, it's not cut and dry.
To you, it is. Go ahead.
But
Go ahead.
It's not cut and dry, but they must.
They must.
That should be
Or
part
it's
of
a
the
bust.
rebuild plan of making the playoffs
Next
next
year.
year.
I don't think it's not part of their plan.
Perfect.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think the Canadiens, they were trying to make the playoffs, Mike Matheson said in February or January, whatever it was. Whatever the case, if they make it, great. If they don't make it, that's okay too. And at that point, that summer, we'll see where the Canadiens have progressed. And if Kaprizov does not re-sign with the Minnesota Wild, you make a play for him in free agency in 2026. He's making $9 million right now. I'd give him $10 million for 6 years, something like that. And
I'm glad you're not manager.
Exactly. We'll talk about.
We'll overpay for one player.
We'll
Kent
talk
Hughes
about
has said.
Leaf Lessons a little later.
We're not talking about them right now. They're overpaying 4 players, not
Midnight
one.
train to Georgia.
Leaf
here.
Lessons.
Holy jeez.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually. Now, the thing, I want to go back to Lindstrom if I can for a second. Do you have something?
Well, I was going to ask you guys another question. That's all.
Okay.
I'll go back to Lindstrom.
Well,
Go
just
ahead.
for Lindstrom,
Let's talk to Lindstrom.
If the injury thing is an issue, we don't want to draft another guy, and I hope that Kirby Dach stays healthy, but we can't have 2 of our centers injury prone for the duration of this rebuild or for the first half of it, whatever. I mean, we need Kirby Dach to be healthy next year and stay healthy. It was a freak accident what happened to him. I'm not like he had a wrist injury when he was with the Team Canada and the World Juniors in 2021. Last year, the ACL, MCL, total freak accident from the Jared Tenorti hit. But I mean, if we can get Nick Suzuki, Kane Lindstrom, and Kirby Dach as our top 3 centers, Owen Beck maybe as our 4th center, we're set. Are we not?
Centers.
I would say.
Like we're pretty darn close.
For centers.
Yeah,
Or Tage Ginla in there, or
You think Ginla's going to be ready to come to the NHL when he's 18?
Not yet. I don't think so. That's my first gut impression.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know about Lindstrom yet either.
Lindstrom isn't ready either.
No, he's got to get more development time. He missed half of a season.
Correct.
So that I have no problem with that at all. So I'm just saying that they got to be very, very sure on this pick, and I think it's like it could be out of my rocker. Not really. I think it's pretty obvious that there's only so many choices, at least in terms of forwards. And by the way, all this to say, Kent Hughes last night said himself, the plan right now is to draft a forward. So that's why I'm like, last year, we all know what happened. A lot of us were wrong. We took David Reinbacher at 5th overall. This year, the need is very, very clear on the front end for the top 6. They need a forward. They need 2 scoring forwards. They're going to add one right now at the draft. They're going to add one soon through free agency or trade, probably through trade first, and then see what's available later in free agency. So that to say, there's a lot of options.
I think
still,
they've got quite a choice to make for the 5th round pick.
I don't think you can miss. What do you guys think?
I mean,
are we guaranteed to get a solid?
We're getting something good. Let's put it that way. I mean, that's a guarantee at number 5. We're getting
That's the most encouraging part for me.
Yeah, and when you listen to the pundits, right, most of them are saying that beyond 1 and 2, and really 1, there's 7 or 8, 9, 10 guys who could be a pick for number 2, and that's all of the ones we've talked about. So it's so close this year as far as the draft pool goes that really you've got one that stands out, and the rest are so good. They're all good. They could all be number 2 for any team that has within the top 10 picks. So that's good for the Montreal Canadiens because, like you say, I think we're going to get something great. Not just good, something really good.
If Ginla's half of what his dad was, or 3/4 of it, I mean,
in juniors,
we may not even end up picking him.
He's
but if Lindstrom ends up being they're comparing him to Lindros a little bit. Just the tenacity, the size, the strength, the fact that he drives play. You could have Slavkovsky, Lindstrom, big Kirby Dach, 3 big guys driving the play on different lines.
And we've talked many times, and Paul, you have always said this, that we need to go bigger.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, the sizes. I'm going to say this is what I was going to ask you guys. So we were setting our priorities here for the draft. The Habs' priorities. My pick would be size. John, what would your pick be a priority for Montreal?
Character.
Okay, and that's a big thing, especially we know that with Montreal, the culture and the character. The guy's got to have character. That's why we never took Shane Wright. Drew.
That's where my question for somebody like Yzerman, who is the best pure scorer in the draft. But I don't know about his character. He's going to be going to Boston University where Lane Hudson and Luke Tuck just played. So what do you guys think about, and I just learned this morning, but I just think we should touch on it just for a minute
at
least.
Yes.
Is that last year Kent Hughes moved his second first round pick, which was a later pick, But this year they have the 24th pick.
Yes.
So is it an automatic? He's going to move it with the right trade like he did with Alex Newhook last year? Is it pretty much a foregone conclusion that pick, we're not going to see it? It's going to get traded.
I'd say it's 50-50.
Yeah, I would say that's his MO. That's the way he works. If there's a guy...
Is it good news that it's a bit better of a pick than last year? A little lower? 24th?
Yeah, I think it is a good news. And
versus 30-something?
I mean, if he can get more for it,
and
great.
if there's a guy out there he can pick up for it, that fits into that 2019...
Marco Rossi?
And everything else, yes. Like, you might see him move that pick because at 24, what's the difference? We'd rather get a bona fide player that can play right now.
Yes.
he's got to trade for an RFA.
Yeah, that's most likely going to... Yeah,
Well,
it's going to be him or Rossi or Zegras or Capo.
I'm telling you, Capo Caco of the Rangers, 23 years old, 6'3", class of 2019, second overall pick, right wing center/center. Have we seen this story before?
Yes,
He's an RFA, and he needs to be signed.
Is he going to win the Stanley Cup?
He's also going for a cup right now with the Rangers.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
I don't think he's having a bad playoff either.
If he wins the Stanley Cup,
he's not going anywhere.
He ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, he's going to become prime. Well, I'm gonna look up his.
But he would be
spreading the news.
Yeah, that guy would fit.
I'm not leaving today.
Yeah. That guy would fit the bill right there when you're talking about that kind of stuff, right?
Yes.
And don't forget Cole Caulfield. I don't know if you guys saw this. Is playing with his buddy Trevor Zegras with Team USA right now. And Slavkovsky came over and gave Zegras a big hug the other day. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So nothing to make of it. I mean, last year they were on a friggin' cruise ship or on a boat with Pierre-Luc Dubois, and we all saw what happened with that.
Yeah, that was a
bullet dodge, wasn't it?
Oh boy, yeah.
So,
but we saw two Habs.
They ran him out of LA.
We saw two ex-Habs recently in the playoffs, almost get engaged in a fight, and they looked off at each other and said, "No, we're not doing that."
Who was that?
What are you talking about?
There were two
Habs?
ex-Habs.
Oh, ex-Habs.
Who were playing against each other recently in the playoffs.
Oh.
And a fight broke out. And they looked at each other.
Monahan and Lehkonen?
Could be. They looked at each other and said, no, we're not fighting.
Those guys wouldn't fight.
Well,
but
I don't know if it was them, but
the fact that it was like lineage of playing with the Canadiens. No, he was my brother going into that 21 final. No, we're not fighting.
Well, they're possibly thinking of bringing Monahan back.
Might have been KK.
Corey Perry?
Might have been KK.
Might have been Kakanyemi?
Carolina?
Oh yeah, we saw Kakanyemi fight. That was entertainment.
But what I'm saying is the whole concept of like
you going like this, slapping him.
Like it's a whole little like club. If you've played for the Habs, you're in a special club.
No,
or you were in a special club. Yeah, no.
And they might
but that bond is there.
He might be again, Monahan. I've heard rumbles about that. But yeah, so if they do that, trade number 24, it would not shock me. This is his MO, Hughes. If he finds the right fit, yeah, like John said, it's a 50-50 shot because a lot of things have to happen. He's got to find the right fit. But ultimately, yes, I would say that is a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are going to have to happen. I mean, he's got to make a decision on people like Justin Barron as well at one point. Mm-hmm. Is Justin Barron actually got a future with his team long term?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's still undetermined.
Well, I think Drew wants to give him time. I know that.
I think he needs it. He's just showing that he needs it.
Well, but that they have to decide if they have the time for him.
Yeah.
Okay. And then
he's got to bulk up
because they've got to start onboarding people. Which is going to be interesting. Onboarding the existing prospects and then taking existing prospects and draft choices and trying to get an RFA that they can bring in, and then 2 or 3 years later, when that they can re-sign to their advantage.
Yeah. And they just signed Engstrom, too. So we have to think, too. They just signed...
Engstrom, that's right.
They just signed Engstrom. They just signed Hudson. Mm-hmm. Mayhew's coming.
Yeah.
Ryan Back.
And those are easy signs because they're onboard signs and they're at minimum wage, right?
Yeah. Minimum wage of $950,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, who really wants to just get $900,000 to play in the NHL?
That's just peanuts.
You can't pick up supper.
You can't pick up
the team supper.
Can't pick up the tab.
It's embarrassing.
On Field Street.
Embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
But in saying that, there's one thing that the Habs still need to get and really need to focus on, and it's a Leaf lesson.
Oh, boy.
And here, snatch this pebble from my hand. And that is exactly what the Montreal Canadiens.
There really was something in his hand.
Yeah, it was a pebble.
There's a player on this.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a Montreal Canadian hockey player.
Rogtien Vachon.
Rogtien Vachon. And we know who he is, right, Drew?
No.
Oh!
Not good.
Oh, go to the corner.
Rogie, you don't know Rogie?
Go to the corner. Rogtien Vachon. I believe he won Montreal Stanley Cup.
Yes, he did. And you don't know Rogie?
I don't know Rogie, but I know him now.
And what position did Rogtien Vachon play for l'équipe de Canadiens?
Left wing.
Oh.
Center? Defense.
Oh.
Goaltender.
Son of a Vachon?
Biscuit.
A
I should.
A goaltender, and that is what Montreal needs. It's the Leaf lesson of the day. You know, the Leafs were so close to actually going into the next round.
They always were.
They were.
They always are.
Okay.
If Wall would have played, they might have went. What do you think?
What I think is
There was a lot of would have, could have, should have.
there are a couple of problems. One with goaltenders for sure. Like why didn't Wall play?
He was hurt.
Why did he get hurt?
I don't know. He's been
He
injury
got
prone.
hurt at the very end of that
game.
game. There was
yeah.
no reason for him to get hurt.
Right. He shouldn't even tried to save it.
That's right.
Well,
and
that's easy to say in hindsight.
No, it's not easy to say in hindsight.
Sure it is.
No, it's not. We're having a difficult time saying that. And he definitely should have not been playing that puck that hard. And number two, the team in front of him should have made sure that situation never even
happened.
occurred. Okay? So now Wool can't play. We put in Samsonov. Samsonov plays an amazing 3 periods.
Yep.
But
Not enough.
not enough because Pasta gets the puck off the sweet spot.
Hey, Busta.
He gets the puck off the sweet spot of the board. That to me was a set play by the Bruins.
Yeah,
And Samsonov isn't ready to. He's not playing the puck.
So there's
He is not playing the puck. If Toronto had an elite goalie this year, they would be playing Florida right now, and Boston would be playing golf.
Yeah, and that's a good point about the goaltender, and that's where Rogie Vachon comes in. So
the ghost of Rogie Vachon.
Rogie Vachon is like the lineage because
still
there
alive?
was another guy. Yes, I think he might still be with the LA Kings.
He could be.
Head
Let me look
office.
him up. Let me look him up.
Take a look.
Rogie Vachon.
He might be with the Kings still. And Vachon was like the beginning of like, or in that midst of like goalies like Cesar Mandiego, Vachon, Ken Dryden, who came in and played amazing in the playoff hockey to teams who had never really dealt with him that particular year during the NHL season.
Yeah, and the goalie in a series like that, you're right. A goalie in a series like that. Look at Swayman.
Absolutely.
Swayman was the reason they got through that series, and he was the reason they won the other night, too.
So we can sit here all day and talk about draft choices, about goal productions, about,
He's still alive, 78 years old.
Unrestricted
Yeah, there
free
you go.
unrestricted
Rogie Vachon.
free agents, restricted free agents, who we're going to trade for, blah blah blah. But if we don't get a Rogie Vachon,
We have one.
We might.
Jacob Fowler.
let's hope he's a Rogie
He's committed
Vachon.
to Boston College already again for next year.
Yeah, well, he's
So-
going to be coming up in the
So
next
he's going to
3
play
or 4
36
years.
games, 40 games.
Yeah, but he was dominant in his rookie year.
Whoop-de-doo. He's going to play 20 of 40 games. Whoop-de-doo.
What do you want him to do?
I want him to play more games
With who?
In Laval.
with a team
Anybody.
in the OHL
Why the OHL?
because it's half decent hockey.
Rapid fire question with Deeksy and Johnny.
Yeah.
I know, but college hockey is still in the U.S. is still competitive.
It is
good hockey.
competitive, but he needs to see more rubber, as
Yeah.
they say,
Yeah, he will.
or as some lady used to say.
So,
Okay.
so if we do,
Weird.
if we do, okay. if we do keep the 24th pick, how about this guy I keep talking about? Adam Jecko.
From where?
He's from Czechia.
Chechnya?
Czechia.
Czechia. You mean
Czechia.
former
Czechia.
Czechoslovakia? You
Yeah,
mean?
Czechia.
Czech Republic?
Yeah, he's 6'5" center, 201 pounds, 18 years old. Is he good? Well, you tell me. 54 games, 23 goals, 24 assists, with a -7 in the WHL with the Edmonton Oilers Kings.
Oiler Kings.
Oil Kings.
I liked the way you said it, though.
Isn't that some kind of a guy that we'd be looking for with our 24th pick if he's available? What do you think? He can score. He's big, 6'5".
Round out the bottom six? Is that kind of what you're going for?
Well, I'm thinking about, a guy who could come in and, well, you never know. I mean, we've got, 6'7" defensemen we play.
Yeah.
But his size, his scoring ability, he's a center. So you never know. We could use a big center like that, right, on our other lines because we need secondary scoring, like John said.
And
we can talk about everything, but we need goaltending and we need secondary scoring.
And you're not getting that, like, you're getting good play from Jake Evans, but you're not getting that much production from Jake Evans. So you could get a better Jake Evans, and then you have Owen Beck. So now you have options.
And just a bigger guy. I mean, this
In
is
general,
size.
yeah.
It gives our size. We give some size, right? But
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it going, like, what's wrong? 24th. I mean, if he's still around.
Put him with Florian Jacka on your fourth line. That's and Owen Beck. That sounds like a pretty. I mean, Owen's got to play with skilled players. I feel like. I don't know if it's. I know I'm kind of changing the subject a little bit, but I see Owen Beck playing with like a Machar and maybe a bigger forward. But I don't. Maybe it's Joshua Waugh. Like I don't know. I was thinking about this before I came in today, and I was like, well, we're talking about trading for another forward in the top six. If we draft a Lindstrom or an Iginla or some say Demidov, they could go for who knows. If we draft a top center in this draft, they're going to still apparently try to acquire another forward through trade, right? So where does that leave Joshua Waugh? Some people think he's a top 6 forward. I don't think he is proven that yet. I think he's still a third line, ideally comfortably slotted on the third line with like a Philip Machar, a playmaker like Machar. Joshua Waugh can also be a playmaker, and then you got to have a strong center. So maybe that's Kirby Dach, maybe that's Owen Beck. Who knows who it's going to be? But I think that I'm looking forward to seeing the bottom 6 get rounded out. So maybe they do trade for a player like him.
Well, they could draft him. He's in the draft. So
he's in the draft.
He's
I'm
in the
sorry.
draft, so they could draft him 24th.
I see I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of you suggesting the possibility that they'll actually maybe decide to use the pick.
Yeah, that's one player that I've been looking at going, wow, like he's got the production.
Yeah.
He's a center. He's got the size which we need. He might be a guy that, I don't know if they're looking at him, but I certainly did look at him and go, wow. I think he's going to go before 24th, though. I just, somebody's going to pick this kid up.
That's interesting, yeah.
And
you know what, too, is...
I hope we get a shot at him. We're not going to use our 5th pick for him. Guaranteed he's not that good.
Yeah. And speaking of that, Hughes mentioned, I don't know if we have said this already, I did say it on my last video as well, but Hughes said he will be making phone calls about his 5th overall pick to see who's interested in moving around, possibly trading it. He said he knows he'll be receiving calls on it. Last year, he received calls about his 5th overall pick. He made calls about his 5th overall pick. They ended up keeping it. They went with the best option they felt, which was David Reinbacher. But there will be conversations had in order to see about moving that pick. But that also means when it's their time to draft. So Demidov may already be gone, for example. They may not move up to take him. But there will be talks about them trading their picks. Let's just say, for example, Lindstrom is gone at 5. He went to Columbus or Anaheim. Let's just say.
And that could happen.
And that could very well happen.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like Anaheim, after just losing Drysdale in the trade for for Gauthier from Philly, they may be in the market for a defenseman to help solidify that. But if they're going to lose Trevor Zegras, they may still want to draft another forward. So who knows? I think Anaheim's the most unpredictable maybe about who they're going to take, at least from right now at this moment. But that to say, if Lindstrom is gone at 5, maybe Montreal knows they're going to get Tage Ginla at 7 or 8, and they're willing to move. And then they get something back for moving down.
Yeah.
And then they still get their guy.
Right.
So they're going to be making calls about that 5th pick and receiving calls no matter what. as well.
And this is a great conversation we're having because it all comes back to what we talked about maybe a month ago, or 3 or 4 or 5 shows ago. That Hughes right now, he's put himself, and this is the brilliance of Hughes. He's put himself in a position where there are so many options that he can work with that it's hard to sit here and actually figure it all out because most teams don't have all these options. They don't have 11 picks this year and 11 picks next year. And they don't have top 5 pick this year and another pick 24th. We just have so many options.
They do have all of that.
Yeah,
by the way.
but most teams don't.
Most teams don't, yes.
And that's the beauty of it for Hughes. He's got so many options. There's so many combinations he can work, as well as...
That Kirby Doc trade still has my head spinning from 2 years ago. Like, the way they worked that one, and it was in Montreal at the Bell Center, that was...
It's crazy.
Exciting and smart and brilliant.
And don't forget, we have an overload on defense. So, holy crap. I mean, to deal some of these defense guys that...
I think Engstrom is going to surprise the heck out of fans, by the way. I'm starting to get that buzz about him, and he's going to play with Reinbacher most likely.
Yeah.
So, he's a left shot, Reinbacher's a right shot. They're going to treat Reinbacher's development just like they did with Mayhew's, and he's going to eventually come up when he's ready. Like, Mayhew is now looking like he's ready. He was a top defenseman with the Rocket last year. But now it's exciting to think about Engstrom playing with Reinbacher. You know what I mean? Like, defensively, like, they're going to have to start moving some guys, like Struble and Harris. And, I mean, Kovacevic is probably going to expire. Justin Barron. So I think on the chopping block, which I don't like to call it that, I'm not trying to disrespect the player or the person, but Harris is... I would keep Harris as long as you can. I think he's the most versatile. He could draw the most, but Struble could too. Struble could really draw some interest from teams that you had to like the way he played. He can skate... He can move the puck. He can hit. He can fight probably too. We saw him get tough. So Harris, Struble, Barron, some big question marks. Savard's trade deadline. That's a foregone conclusion, I think. But he'll be with the Canadiens till at least the deadline to try to mentor. And I hopefully you would think he would be able to mentor Reinbacher. So who knows?
Don't think that'll happen.
But
I don't think Reinbacher's mentorship is going to be Laval Rockets.
Yeah, with the Laval Rocket, yeah. And the whole system is a lot more cohesive than it used to be. So you should be able to trust that enough to rely on David Savard to be your only mentor.
Well, you saw the Laval Rockets actually work extremely well for the Habs.
They're going to be very exciting next year potentially with Machar, with Beck, Engstrom, Reinbacher coming in. I mean, like, the Rocket are going to be more fun to watch next year.
They're going to continue to get interesting.
Their goalies are going to get better. We saw Dobesh take a step,
and that's what we need to see too. We need to see goaltender acceleration.
Yeah, and Primo and Monty have a big task ahead of them next year.
They both should see more rubber.
Well, it's good news that Jake Allen got moved, and now next year we're not going to have that. You saw how they made it work though this year.
Absolutely.
And you guys called it that they were going to go with the 3 goalie system. They did, but there's a lot to look forward to. And this draft, I remember saying stupidly that this wouldn't make or break the rebuild, but this could help make the rebuild.
Oh boy!
With this pick at 5, and honestly, if they move up, even better. Or if they move down and they still get their guy, just as well. So
the concept here is to continue to strengthen the team.
Yeah, and the asset management of Kent Hughes, like you were just alluding to, has been on point.
In 3 years from now, 3 years from now, we're going to know Kent Hughes is going to be at that make or break stage. We're going to be going, "You are amazing," or "No, you screwed it up royally."
Yeah,
which I don't think we're feeling that way
I'm not
right now.
We're not feeling that right now.
Hindsight is 20/20,
isn't it?
Okay, so let's get to these playoffs. Just a second about the playoffs. I made my picks right here for these series. Then there were 8. We got 4 series going on. Florida, Boston. John, what do you think in that series?
Got to take Florida.
You're taking Florida. And Drew?
Florida in 7.
Okay, well, you're going to even pick 7. Wow, I'm not picking the number.
And in saying that, the Bruins it'll be interesting. If the Bruins win tonight, look out.
Look out.
And like a Chopper said, Florida's probably going to be rusty, and he was kind of right because they're all right. They outshot Boston, but they really didn't look sharp like Florida usually looks. So
Boston's coming off a big win, series win, and a high.
Absolutely.
And they come in
because the Leafs were that close.
That close.
They always are.
You know what?
Not always.
Rangers, Canes.
I got the Rangers. They're already up 2-0 anyway.
Okay.
So,
and-
I had them picked before
I
the
had
series.
I got to take Carolina. I mean, that's
Okay.
that's
I'm
who
all
I
for a
took.
comeback, though. I'm all
Well,
for a comeback.
no,
I don't care if I'm
I mean,
wrong.
they're going
I
home
mean,
now.
it
They just
was
missed
double
last
overtime,
night.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
It was double overtime, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good game.
I don't count out Rod Brindamore as head coach, just like I wouldn't count out Marty St. Louis if they were down 2-0.
Yeah,
and had a
see.
team that I trusted. But,
And
Okay, what about Dallas and Colorado?
oh, that's a hard one. I think I ended
you
up
gotta
taking
take-
Colorado.
I took Dallas.
you got to take Colorado.
I took Colorado,
Okay.
too. Yeah.
John took Dallas the first time we talked
I
to
took
him.
Now
Vegas.
you gotta take Colorado.
I took Vegas, and I was
And
wrong.
you're taking Colorado too? Okay,
Yeah.
I'm the only Dallas fan here.
I don't even care who wins that series. I just want it to be
No, we
entertaining.
don't care. Really, we don't care who wins
I'm
any of
just
these
trying to.
series.
Yeah,
What do we care, right? But it's just for fun.
it's for fun. Yeah.
It's so I can come here and say you guys are wrong. And Canucks and Oilers.
Oilers.
Oh,
I got the oil too, John.
We want to see Conard
I
McDavid.
I think I
win
did
a
pick the
cup.
Oilers.
Yeah.
I did pick the Oilers as having. I don't know if I trust. Is Casey DeSmith still rotating the starting position? Like, what's his name? The starter for Vancouver, Demko, is still injured, isn't he, or no? Am I wrong?
Don't know.
I have no idea.
Casey DeSmith
I know
carried
DeSmith
them
is-
through the first round.
Yes, he did.
So I went with the Oilers because I felt like Skinner might be more tested, more solidified. I don't know. Like,
Okay.
it's hard to say, but I took the Oilers.
Oilers got the scoring punch.
Okay, so I wrote that down. So next week we can come back and laugh at everybody.
Oilers got the scoring
So you got Vancouver?
No, I wouldn't take the Canucks. I did the Oilers. I'm with the Oilers. But look at John wants to show you this.
This is awesome.
Isn't that nice?
Duffel bag.
This is
That was
one
vintage.
of a kind.
That's
one of a
my
kind.
first Montreal Canadiens duffel bag from like 1959.
Oh boy.
And it came from probably Mr. Eaton and had a couple of Montreal Canadian gloves in it, a couple of elbow pads,
Is that right?
yes, and maybe a shin pad or two.
Let's
You know
show the
who-
audience. Let's show the
Do
audience.
you know who Mr. Eaton is?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
again.
Eaton's was a department store.
Yeah, I know that one.
Okay, well,
Well,
that's who it was.
Timothy Eaton
Yeah.
created Eaton's department chain, and
T.
everybody bought everything from a catalog back then.
Yes, in the 90s. I did that
Kind
too.
of like
I was part of that era.
Kind of like Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
And that's where this came from. And then this is a crest that my mother would have sewn on to my little duffel bag.
Well, that's cute.
Isn't it a different Habs crest?
It is.
We were commenting on it today.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
Like, this is one of a kind. You don't
CH.
Yeah, I've never seen the Habs crest without the blue in it, right?
No, it's
So
different.
that's-
It's vintage, yeah.
Vintage.
This is the one I was looking at, this
Yeah.
Yeah.
logo. Because I've seen that on jerseys before.
Yeah, exactly. With the little bar on top of the CH, right? That's what gives
That's
that away.
that's the retro.
Yeah.
Yeah, unbelievable. You know, you see there's the stuff that are one of a kind things, right? And that's it.
We're bringing
fans are walking
We're
by.
Yeah,
bringing
we
them
got
in
lots
for
of
you,
people.
Drew. You know, because it's our process.
Well, I need the alumni education here. Like, I need-
Absolutely.
that's what I'm here for half the time.
Vintage.
Like
as
this
you
thing
saw.
today, Vachon. I mean,
See, that's the
Sacre-
I learn every time I come in
Sacre
here.
bleu.
Yeah, see, what you got to understand is we're not old, we're vintage. Right? We're vintage.
I'm
Yeah.
quoting that.
Yeah, I'm not
I'm going to
old.
quote him on that. That's a good quote.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you're about 70, you'll be quoting that, believe me. I'm not old, I'm vintage.
Yeah. Like all the
But
wines here in Niagara. Yeah.
So we just have to wait, and we're going to see what happens in the draft. What's that, June 28th, I think,
At the Sphere
at the Sphere
in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's going to be good. And we'll see where this all goes. I mean, we're going to have a lot of stuff to report on between now and then because the rumors are flying. People are going to be trading, and you might see Hughes make a move even before the draft. So
Like last year with Newhook.
with Newhook, right? So
Yeah.
it's going to be really interesting. The next, what do we got? We got about 3 weeks in May, and then another 4 weeks in June. We got the playoffs.
5 or 6 weeks
Yeah,
at least.
So you got
Well,
5, 6,
There's a lot of
6,
time.
Once
to,
we lose
yeah.
another 4 teams, right?
Yep.
You know, from the playoffs.
Yep. Then we'll see.
Then we'll see.
Yeah, especially with these guys are going to sign extensions like for Kako and these other guys. And the other guy I wanted to mention too, like that we never talked about, but this Matt Nekris. Do you know who that guy is? Martin Nekis from Carolina.
Oh, Nikas.
Nikas.
Yeah, I've heard his name, yes.
6'2", 25-year-old competitive center with tremendous speed and diligent on defense. And he's an RFA.
Nikas is well-known name.
Wouldn't it be nice if we put an offer sheet on him?
I don't know. That didn't go so well the last time.
No, well, actually, it did. We lost KK, which was fantastic. I think it worked out great for Montreal.
I wish everyone could see when Paul looks me in the eye there and the joy in his eyes.
KK.
Oh,
we
man.
we never got A-hole, but we did get rid of K-hole.
You're on.
So
That was a hat trick, buddy. That was a hat trick. You're on fire right now. That is a great. We got to end the show right now. We're not going to finish better than that. I'm sorry.
who has more fun than three Habs fans in the studio talking about the Habs?
Nobody.
You're like Mel Lastman.
Maybe 20 millionaires who watch the Stanley Cup.
Yeah,
The
Yeah.
Toronto Maple Leafs.
that's right.
Oh.
20 millionaires that watched. Name 20 millionaires watching
That Mitch Marner
the Stanley
quote.
Cup.
That Mitch Marner quote is going to go down as one of the worst quotes in all of sports. Like
Which one is that?
Like Mitch Marner when he said that we're looked at as gods in Toronto. That's what he and this guy has no idea what's
no.
going on the outside. Like he's one of the most talented players the Leafs have ever had. I'll give him that much. But when it comes to the playoffs, you know, and like
He's no Davey Keon.
he has no idea
No.
what the fans are like. That he is at the top of the guys they want out the door in that core four, and the guy's talking about an extension and talking about how he relishes in the fact that they're seen as gods in Toronto. Like, I just talk about being clueless. Like, I don't know. It's just a weird quote, and it's not going to age well. So,
We're more popular.
why are we
than-
ending on the Leafs? Why are we ending talking about the Leafs?
Well, we're
I'm
not going
getting
to end
over
on that. We're going to say this. Somebody also said we're more popular than God.
it. And that was the Beatles and John Lennon. Thank you. Yeah, I knew that.
John
much.
Lennon.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised? You are. You're shocked.
and you know,
you
John-
can't even talk right
I'm
now.
surprised
And you know,
knew
John
that.
Lennon did the bet in Montreal before he came to
Yes,
Toronto.
and he had
At the
a
Queen
Habs
Elizabeth.
jersey.
And he had the Habs jersey. He had number 5.
Did he seriously have the Habs
He had
jersey?
the number 5 Habs jersey.
That's right.
Did he really?
Guy
Yes, he
Lapointe's
did.
jersey, number 5. And guess what? We've got the 5th round draft pick.
5th overall pick.
Do you think there's...
Not 5th round, 5th overall.
Right, the 5th overall draft pick. Do you think there's some kind of...
Correlation there?
something going on there? A little
No.
Conspiracy
bit,
theory? Or?
I know that they see the
little
Canadians as,
synchronicity?
up in the clouds too in Montreal, but it's more class. And you know what? The Canadians are down to earth, and the Canadians of old were down to earth, and we're on the same level as their fans, and we're able to walk the streets with their fans and not hide and pretend they don't have, or say they have an illness and can't say their injury and keep everything a secret like they do in Toronto. It's different in Montreal.
Oh, totally
is.
different. You know, if you
Not
were
even close.
in Montreal, you went to Maurice Richard's restaurant to have a drink before the hockey game.
With Maurice Richard
Exactly.
and Boom Boom Geoffrion
Yes.
and John Beliveau.
And Ralph Backstrom.
Tilemont.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Yeah, we got to get out of here. It's past our hour here. Now we're getting goofy. Don't forget to hit the like button on the Drew Deek Show. We got to thank you for tuning in. We appreciate
Thumbs
you
up.
watching us.
Yeah,
Yes.
thanks for all those views.
Yep, and hopefully you're entertained. I mean, that's what we all hope. And for my guys on Habsolutely here on 4680Q Radio, thank you for listening in.
Merci
it's always
beaucoup.
a pleasure to have Drew Deekson. Thank you so much for coming in, Drew.
C'est magnifique.
My pleasure.
My co-host John Filion. We're always here every week at noon, every Wednesday at noon. Absolutely on 4680Q Radio. Thank you for tuning in. We're broadcasting live all the time. It's always live from downtown Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. The only show in Ontario. All Habs, all show. Have a good one, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Ciao, ciao.
See you later, you guys on video.
Ciao.